Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome everybody to another episode of Homeland After Show on AfterBuzz here. My name is Nando Velasquez, sitting in for Thaddeus Massey, who's usually doing this thing. Thaddeus. I'm joined, we're in the big studio. I love this studio. We're in the studio. Yes, across from me, doing the echoes. Lexie. Not really Lexie, but doing the echo, Danny Hoyt.
Danny. That's me.
Yeah. Danny Hoyt. It's like you're in the center of Dodger Stadium, just like doing an echo.
I was trying to like add to the whatever's happening.
No, I know. I was just changing it up.
I'm also double fisting very early. Water and tea, kids.
If those of you on video,
we party here.
Yes. And next to Mr. Hoyt, a lovely Lexie Hammesfahr.
Hey guys,
yes. Lexie. And hopefully, fingers crossed.
Arms crossed.
Arms crossed. Your double fists crossed. We should be expecting a phone call within this show from Mr. Michael O'Keefe, who you may know as John Redmond.
He's got a great Twitter bio, by the way.
Yeah, I know. He's got a great bio in general. Yeah. I'm really excited to talk to him a little bit about his experience on Homeland, and of course we got some news and gossip about some good news for Homeland this past week.
We do.
So we'll get into that one later. But let's get into this show. I am going to butcher the name of this episode completely. I'm going to say it's Krieg Nicht Lieb. I'm trying to sound in my best German.
Krieg Nicht Lieb.
Krieg Nicht Lieb. I didn't realize.
Steven.
Yes, it's War Not Love.
Yes, we translate that.
What
War
is
Not Love.
Absolutely love.
We knew how to do Google Translate. We just didn't know how to say it.
Exactly.
Krieg Nicht Lieb. But thank you very much, Stephen Lemieux, with the assist, with the alley-oop. So yes, War Not Love.
Krieg Nicht Lieb.
Krieg Nicht Lieb. So, yeah, I think definitely we got to see some war and we got to see some not love, so to speak, or some little triangles. We definitely
like subtle love.
Subtle love.
But or was it love? Quinn loves Cary so much that he didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was like subliminal love.
I think there was a lot of that throughout on both sides throughout this episode. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about Carrie's talking to Asar at the very top. Just he talks a little bit about why he couldn't help her out, and gave her a little bit about the fact that Quinn. Everyone knows Quinn's there. Quinn's an assassin. He kidnapped an asset and burned down a bazaar, and it's either going to be Quinn's head or his head. So Asar's not really in a position of any power, as we can see in this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, we see Tasmin like pretty much
calling all the shots.
Yeah. Holding him personally responsible later on in the episode. So we definitely see that this shift in power, this coup, as he calls it, is evident in the fact that Tasmin has all this power over him. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of like got his hands tied, I guess. He all he really could do for Cary, at least in the beginning, was just give her a little bit of lowdown.
And warn her.
Warn her, yeah. So we see a little bit of that, but let's talk about Quinn. Quinn is on the run. He's rogue. He's gone rogue. We see him meet up with this very attractive German Fräulein.
She's more of the Lieb.
A Lieb?
Krieg.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. Well,
love?
They definitely have had some Lieb, I would say.
She's got some great Liebs on her face. Her lips? No?
Sure.
How are you going with that
So
one?
funny.
That was, I didn't know who she was at first. I was a little freaked out.
She doesn't have. I couldn't find her name on IMDb for that episode. Unfortunately, they don't do a great job.
Is that it?
I don't know.
I feel like we'll see her at least for next episode, maybe not next season.
She looked very familiar to me, though. I'm sure she's been on some other shows or something. She looked very, very familiar.
Yeah, I mean, her face looked familiar, but on this show, that's the first time we've seen her.
Yes, absolutely. And although she has a history with Quinn, as we see, because he has some clothes there.
That was going to be what it was, that they had some kind of like romantic involvement in the past, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, well, you know what? He's there alone. He's been in Islamabad. What the hell did I say? Islamabad for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you know, with no Carrie to focus on in the past, so of course he's probably
Found love.
found a little. Well, I don't know
In a
if it's
hopeless
love.
place.
Guys, he found love in a. Oh, did you just say it? Damn it! That's what I was gonna say. You beat me to it,
I'm
Lexie.
sorry.
All right.
Love in a hopeless place. Yeah. So very interesting character. She works in a German embassy. Carrie pretty much talks about her position in the German embassy.
She's a desk specialist. She's at a desk.
She's at the NATO.
Planning coordinator at the NATO desk.
Specialist desk.
Yes, the NATO specialist desk.
Absolutely. Specialist. Yeah.
She's a
So
specialist.
then she just lets her in her house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have let her in my house.
Yeah, well, I mean, Carrie, you know, it's like Quinn said in that episode with her when she was talking about Carrie calling on the phone. Carrie always gets her way.
Carrie always gets her way.
Carrie always gets her way.
Dang convincing.
So Carrie, you know, Carrie's smart, and I don't think this, you know, we didn't get a name for her, and again, her name at least is not on the episode list right now for IMDb. You know, I guess she just didn't realize, you know, that Carrie could just obviously walk in and see enough, you know, she saw a wet spot on the floor and figured somebody was here taking a shower, I guess, and knew.
Well, I think she also knew from Max that he was staying there.
I like that part when Quinn was like, "Effing Max."
Well, let's you know what? We're jumping around a little bit. So, I mean, look, we see Quinn going rogue. We see Carrie definitely going after him. But I really think that was a powerful scene. I don't want to miss this scene with Max. Because you know,
with the safe.
Yeah, with the safe. Because I mean, well, we see obviously after she does that big speech in the embassy with everyone, and she doesn't want to lose anyone. And I think that's a really big through line with her. She doesn't want to lose anybody anymore, and she wants everyone else to be, you know, getting Quinn back because she doesn't think Quinn can get. She thinks it's a suicide mission. Come on, there definitely was that little bit of that. I want Quinn type of reaction, I think, with her too. It wasn't just about a suicide mission and protecting him. I think she needs him right now.
Yeah, I think she realizes that.
Yeah,
Right.
she needs him right now. So so absolutely. So Max was supposedly on board with her, but then she catches him going into a safe. She still has apparently station chief powers.
Well, no, when he rebooted it, it started giving her the system alarms again.
He had a lot of money stashed in that safe, though. Did you see that wad he pulled out?
Each wad is usually 10 grand. And it was how many wads? Was there 2 wads? 3 wads? How many wads are we talking here? Was there a lot of wads?
I think there were different currencies.
1 wad?
I didn't see exactly how much, but you know what? It's a lot of money. I'm sure it's enough for him to get by.
Really
Plus a
like
passport.
using the word wad. I would love a wad of cash.
Well, you know, we're in the valley, so there's multiple words for that. Anyway, so yeah, but the reason why I bring up Max, I mean, it was a really powerful scene, and we saw Max last week react to the death of Farah, and we see him still holding that.
Yeah, geez.
And
I didn't realize he was still holding it that much.
He was really holding it that much, and that was his thing. He is on board with Quinn going for Hakani, and he holds it against Carrie. Obviously, he's still a little upset at her, and yeah, so he's definitely gone rogue, at least for the moment. But Max ultimately, you know, he kind of follows orders and gives Carrie the information, just like Quinn said. Effing Max.
Effing Max.
Effing Max. So let's talk a little bit. So let's talk about this relationship with Kari and Quinton, because I think it's really interesting. Because I think, like we said, it definitely seemed like, what's Carrie's motivation for getting Quinton back? Is it really because she's trying to save his life because she knows he's going to get shot? Is it really she doesn't think he has a chance in hell in getting Hakani?
I think it's a combination of all the things. I think she's a little freaked out how south everything went, and she doesn't want to lose anyone else, let alone someone who has been one of the closest people to her and by her side, kind of like her pseudo sidekick, and somebody she trusts. Quinn's been the guy that she's kept in her innermost circle. And then on the flip side, no matter who it was going in, I think she realized the severity of this mission is, whoever it is isn't coming back. This is a success rate is very, very small. Yeah. And let alone being the person who's closest to her, you factor all these in together, she's about to flip.
Yeah, I don't think it was so much that she didn't think he could carry out the mission, because clearly had Cary not been in that group of people outside of his compound, he could have blown them up and killed him. But I think it's what Danny said, that she knows he won't make it out alive if he did go through with the mission.
Yeah.
But then she kind of lost her train of thought at the end, and when she was about to shoot him.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, that was a great little bit. We'll get to that part because I think that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, for me, I think the relationship between these two characters is very complex. I mean, we've seen a little bit of it since we first saw him on this show, and obviously Brody was in the way. So and that relationship between Brody and Carrie was always super strong. So I don't think there was ever really a chance for Quinn.
Speaking of Brody and Carrie,
I know we have the old.
We're gonna update that.
Yeah. Oh, we do. We're using the other studio, so they probably just didn't update that here.
The old guy. Yeah, because we're in the bigger studio. We're
in the bigger studio.
We're the big kids tonight.
Tonight we switched around to try and get Michael, so hopefully he'll call us with our times. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But anyway, so yeah, I think the relationship with them has been really, really different. But this is. We see Carrie break down, and I want to talk about this too because, and I think it's just all coming to a head with her. I mean, she lost Ayan. Not that he was a major relationship, but she lost his kid. That we saw her when she had sex with him.
She formed a connection.
She had a connection,
and she feels a little responsible.
She feels responsible. I mean, this whole thing with Saul. Everything going to hell, losing Farah. Like I said, she doesn't want to lose anyone. And I think we really see the Carrie-Quinn relationship come out when Carrie gets news from home about her dad.
Yeah.
So when Maggie tries to reach her.
And I was sitting there thinking when she got that news.
Yeah.
What were you sitting there thinking?
She has lost. There have been so many deaths this season.
Yeah.
On people on her team, assets, her family. I mean, it would be a huge loss for her to lose Quinn also.
Yeah.
She's just lost so many people though between Farah and Redmond and her dad and Ayan.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the
How many
body
blows
count.
can one person take and still stay on their feet is kind of what you start to wonder with Carrie.
Well, I think this really hits her. Well, first of all, I mean, we mentioned this back in the beginning of the season. We saw Maggie talking with Carrie that the dad was never around because, unfortunately, between seasons, the actor who played him, James Reborn, passed away.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of when I actually heard the call came through, I actually had a feeling it was probably going to be that. But this is really impactful for Carrie because we haven't seen him at all this season.
Yeah.
Even as a character, she hasn't seen him. She's been so disconnected from her family. She probably thought that was the one thing that was okay. She kind of neglected that.
I thought that was interesting. I was waiting to kind of see how they were going to write him out and how they're going to actually materialize that and make that happen. If they're going to do it right away, I kind of like that they waited because it adds a layer to Carrie in that she's been so disconnected. I for a split second thought it had to do with Franny.
Oh no,
I did too.
You did? I for some reason I just felt
I thought she got sick.
Hakani maybe Hakani had like the baby kidnapped, something like super crazy.
Really?
Well,
wow, conspiracy theory.
Super early conspiracy, but we'll talk about this.
By the way, no bombing on the caravan last week. Conspiracy theory. But anyway, go ahead.
Super early prediction, but next season that something happens with the baby. I'm just gonna throw it out there now. You can write it down, put it on your Instagrams, tag me at Danny Hoyt. Super early prediction: something happens with Carrie's baby next season in Homeland.
Okay, you heard it here
Studio
first.
A.
Calling it tonight.
We brought it here to Studio A so that Danny can
Franny
swing
will
for the
be
fences.
okay. I want to make sure that's clear. Franny will be okay.
Franny will be okay.
We can't kill off a baby on a show. That just takes it way too far.
I think that would take it way too far. I mean, it was bad enough when Carrie almost drowned her baby. So yeah, so that was almost bad enough with that. Anyway, so yeah, so I think like you said, I think the way they actually brought this information about her father passing away because it was something that had to be done since the character was no longer around. I think it was the perfect time. Again, a few scenes earlier, she says, "I don't want to lose anyone else." And here, no doing of her own. She lost someone else.
And she even says, I thought he would live forever.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that was the one place she thought that she was safe at home. Yeah. And we saw that she was actually, I think her attitude even with Quinn changed. She kept reaching out to him. She wanted to talk to him. That was the scene when she called the German agent, and the German agent said, Carrie sounded upset.
And your girlfriend sounded upset.
Your girlfriend. I love that line.
And then he said she always gets away, but then she goes, it wasn't like that. What'd she say? She goes,
she said it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So she even the German agent kind of knew that there was something else going on.
Sympathy.
So I think that's something major. So we definitely see you switching to 1 cup.
Watering it down?
Yeah, 2 cups, 1 cup.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's not go there.
Went from 2 cups to 1 cup.
I know. I was thinking, I have a dirty mind. Never mind.
Nando.
Sorry. Anyway,
Jeez.
so I'm not. I'm bringing this back. So, Carrie. We're losing it. Yeah. It's been a long day.
Oh,
Carrie,
we love you.
Carrie and her dad. You know, I did love to see Carrie bonding with Maggie because I think she really needed that. We got to see another look at Franny.
And that's the first time that I think Carrie has ever really exhibited the mom instinct that she wanted to be with her kid and feel comforted by
Good observation.
her daughter.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I totally see that. Just trying to reach out to Franny.
And she was like happy because of her, which we usually don't see.
Yeah. I think it was a moment for her to just tune out to everything else going around her and concentrate on that. And
check out for a second.
And check out. And boy, every time I see Fran, it's just like, it's so like in your face, Brody. You know, this is Brody's kid.
I know. I think we all even laughed out loud. We're like, oh God, Mini Brody's out.
Mini Brody.
Let Mini Brody out of the cage.
I was going to say, if Carrie was hallucinating like earlier in the season, it would just be Brody's head. It would just be Damian Lewis's head on the baby.
Even that kid's eyes, they're so piercing blue. I mean, you can look on the...
It was the image that we have up on here. It was crazy. So it was totally that image. But yeah, I think things really shifted for Carrie, and we definitely see her, you know, breaking down and reaching out to Quinn. You know, I thought it was really impactful. I loved this scene for you know, I loved what she was doing with this scene. And you know, she did have her moments earlier in the episode with Quinn, you know, when she figured out obviously where he was at thanks to Max and Quinn, man. I mean, again, Quinn taking down 2 PMCs, shooting one in the knee, and yeah, he is just committed to going out there and you know, I think about that scene and then I compare it to the scene in the diner from earlier in the season when he was back in DC. And even when Carrie was talking to that German woman about, you know, he was going to retire, he wasn't coming back, and she was like, look, he says that every 6 months. He says that all the time. He said that 2 years ago. He will never retire because he always gets drawn back in for some reason. And I think, yeah, I think honestly at that moment I'm thinking, well, if Quinn's going to go, he's going to go on a suicide mission, you know?
Well, here's what I loved about this episode is that Quinn went full-blown AWOL and rogue.
Yeah.
But the only thing, I mean, it was like he had blinders on, but the only thing that stopped him was Carrie being put in harm's way.
Yeah.
Putting yourself in harm's way, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, too, when that happened, what he said to Carrie. He said, GD, Carrie. Same thing Saul said to her when she led Saul into the people. It was the second time this season she's got those words said to her.
Yeah.
It's very damning words, you know?
Very damning words.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, she gets in the way a lot. She changed, and actually, yeah, I think it was a very big mirror, Carrie in harm's way, kind of like when, you know, we saw Saul in harm's way from earlier with the Ayan headshot, and you know, this scene is just I really felt like it's definitely a mirror to, I think that scene, I think in particular that I'm thinking of. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit. I mean, Quinn is definitely gone rogue, and you know, we see him get the materials for a bomb. We start to see the pieces of his plan. He's trying to get into a heavily you know, occupied space to get Haqqani, and he draws him out. And I thought this was really, really interesting the way he did it. He actually had leaked footage of Ayan's shot and gave that to Kieran, who we got to see again. And
very trusting of Karen, by the way, to walk in that room, to go up to room 37, not tell anybody, to walk in the room.
Yeah.
Not shut, you know, she wasn't shutting the door first, and she shuts the door. I thought it was really...
And even for Quinn, because, I mean, you know, Quinn is, like, pretty hyped up, you know?
He was so calm.
He was so calm. His demeanor toward her was very, like, I'm a friend. I'm just here, you know? And I thought he really swayed her to help him out with this. So, you know, really good, again, really good acting this episode from a whole bunch full of people, including Rupert Friend. So, and a really interesting plan. I mean, Kieran jumps on board, and they leak this footage out, and they claim that Haqqani is responsible for killing innocent Muslims, and she gets the university to do a protest. Her friend, what's his name? I saw his name up there. The roommate, Hiran, I think it was.
Hiran, yeah, something like that.
Hiran. So we see them form their little protest, and of course, you know, I love Quinn just puts a hat on and a military jacket, and I think it looked like he kind of like dirtied up his face a little bit just to be a little bit darker so he can fit in, and he just walks into the protest with a pipe, holding onto a pipe bomb cleverly and knocking that inside the grate right by the door, right by the gate. I
thought that was really genius of him to make a picket sign out of a bomb, basically, because I think when he was making that bomb, we were all kind of standing there like, what's he gonna do? What's this picture for?
Yeah.
And then it clicked when he strapped it to the back of the poster.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a genius plan on his part. I mean,
obviously he has no chance to get into this place, and he was going to flush them out. But this was like a genius way, an assassination attempt, he's an assassin. They said it earlier. I mean, he doesn't need to be hand-to-hand contact. He doesn't need to have a gun. He has other options. And of course, the German woman from the embassy was helping him out with this whole thing too. But ingenious plan. We see. We see these protests. Of course, Tasmin is aware of all this as well, and really interesting to see them really be protective over Haqqani. And we mentioned it earlier, like really putting it on Asar, like if something happens to him. Like it seemed like Asar was in charge of the military forces that were being put to hold back the protest, but he was also going to be the one that was going to be completely blamed if anything happened.
She makes sure to reiterate that fact right before he walks out.
Yeah.
Because they even talk about moving Haqqani to safety.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, once everything clears out, we'll move him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, it's like he's, what's that word? A lame duck almost there. You know, he gets to do certain things, but he gets all of the blame and none of the praise in this case with at least the faction of the ISI that's supporting this. But again, beautiful, and then seeing the Haqqani supporters come in and do a counter protest, and really, I mean, as awesome as this plan was, Carrie did speak a little bit of sense when she got there and she finally got in contact with Quinn. It's like first of all, there's no escape for him, but I don't think Quinn cared about escape at this point. He just wanted to take Haqqani out the best way he could, and if he gets killed for it, he gets killed for it. But all of those innocents there, whether they support Haqqani or are there to protest Ayan's death, all of these innocents would get killed, and of course the U.S. would get blamed, and it would just continue this whole thing, with the Middle East and the U.S. and them blaming the U.S. on killing all these Muslims and not caring for the lives of people, especially when some of those people are protesting the very man that he's trying to kill.
Right.
So I think it was a very. I don't know. I'm talking a lot here, but I think it was a very complex scene.
Yep.
So, let's see. So anyway, a big scene with Carrie. She has her burqa on. We see Asar there. She's literally standing on top of the grate.
I thought he saw her at first, by the way.
I did too.
When she first looks back and he was kind of up top, I thought he saw her, and that's why he gets down and he was going to pursue her to get her.
I thought so too.
But then when she grabs the sign and kind of puts it in front of her face, she was either hiding or she was just trying to make sure he didn't see her from that point on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys think he saw her?
I thought she was trying to make sure that he didn't see her from that point on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think he did spot her?
I think he might have spotted her.
Because otherwise he wouldn't have found her at the end, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think he spotted her, but she still hid from him, and I don't think he could make a move. I think also, it's just, again, if he made a move toward her, I mean, obviously there seems to be some other little thing with him and her,
There's
going
like a deeper connection.
Yeah.
It seems like this wouldn't fly in the real world this easily.
This was a very, because of the name War Not Love, but it was, as opposed to some of these other episodes, a lot more of a, I don't want to say soap opera-y, but it was definitely more about relationships and about like all these triangles going on, as opposed to some of the other episodes this season that were more political and more action or espionage related.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
I guess not. I guess so. But yeah, so I think Asar wouldn't go for her because if he did, it would put her in danger.
Yep.
As being an American in the protest, especially if Quinn managed to get a shot out or attack Haqqani, her being the American right there that's visible would have damned her.
Also, this is a little bit of a side note, but like when Haqqani stands up out of the sunroof,
yeah.
is basically like looking down at his people. All these people have these oranges that they were chucking at the police. Why not just turn and chuck an orange at Akani's head?
Well, it was all the supporters at that point around him, I think. I mean, there were some other ones there, too, I guess.
Well, because remember, the protesters ran away.
Yeah, they ran away.
But I can't help but think how much of an exhilarating feeling it would be like to just demolish an orange on the side of someone's noggin. Especially someone who you think is, you know what I mean?
But if there were no, but as Lexie said, a bunch of them ran away. I think they all more or less ran away.
Yeah.
And when Haqqani finally came out, that's when all the supporters chanting Haqqani came out. And in fact, the poster that Cary grabbed was pro Haqqani. Was pro Haqqani. So she was walking with the supporters, and they were surrounded. They surrounded him.
But here's the thing about that scene is, for as good as it was for television, I feel like it's really unrealistic that the CIA station chief would be walking into a crowd of Haqqani supporters.
Yeah.
Well, you mean unrealistic in a sense that, I mean, she was...
In a sense that a blonde American would stick out like a sore thumb, and I'm sure they all hate America.
Yeah, the size of her intestinal fortitude is gigantic. That's amazing to do that.
No, it is. I mean, she had her hair in the burqa, but
she took it down when she got on top of the truck.
She did.
And no one freaked out about that.
No one did. That's pretty surprising, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say. I mean, look. I mean, we did this a little bit last week. We could definitely analyze a lot of these things, but some of them we have to think it's just like the writers have to at some point say, look, we're.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying as great as it is for TV.
Oh, yeah.
I just think it's unrealistic.
In real life, I don't think. Yeah, I think a blonde woman stands in the middle of that crowd.
You're gone.
Yeah, you're at least going to get pulled down, and unless they know who you are, it's probably not the safest place for someone like that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But that scene when she gets up and takes the burqa off, of course, the perfect moment, right when Quinn's got everything all set up and Haqqani's about to come out, and it's like, goddamn, GD Cary, and that big speech about there's no escape. There's 300 military and 50 undercover there.
When she says that to Quinn, the look on his face is a little bit like, yeah, I know, but I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
And I think he had a little moment of like, I know you're right, but he chose not to ignore that fact because the greater mission was to make Haqqani
he's
pay.
willing to kill himself. He's willing to do the suicide mission.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little bit of like a role reversal where she was almost talking him off a ledge, even though he was about to take care of the situation. I thought that was just really interesting to see a look on his face. That's what it said to me, anyways.
Well, I think ultimately he just couldn't do it because of Cary. Cary was there.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Regardless of what she said, I think ultimately, again, he
even saw the tears in his eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. He has no problem getting himself killed in the process here, but he didn't want to put her at stake. And we get to see Haqqani drive off. Which was really, and again, that beautiful scene in the sense that, Quinn's pissed off, Cary didn't, Cary's obviously trying to save everybody and get everyone alive. And then Haqqani stands up and starts waving to his supporters. And that, even before she pulls that gun, that look on her face.
You could see the thoughts and the flashback to Tyon getting shot.
The disgust.
The anger.
Jeez.
The anger and disgust on her face.
Yes.
It was, it was pretty bad. So, and we see all of a sudden she completely changed. She does a 180, and she pulls that gun out.
Can you imagine how pissed Quinn would have been?
Oh.
How pissed. He hears it, he sees Haqqani go down. Like,
biggest hypocrite.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, look, if she makes the shot, she's dead.
Oh, 100%.
With all the military and everything, she's dead, and she's acting there as an agent of the U.S. Quinn at least went AWOL. Of course, the Taliban and the Pakistanis would probably spin it as still being an American mission, but she's right there. She's this, again, blonde woman in the middle of this whole thing, pulling a gun out and killing someone protected by the Pakistanis. That would be a major, major deal. And we see her about to do it, and it's again crazy. I mean, she's willing to get herself killed. Quinn's willing to get themselves killed. They just don't want the other person to get killed in the process. How crazy is that? And then Asar comes to the rescue, which we figured. We got one more episode. I figured that might happen, but the big reveal The huge reveal.
Jeez.
And let's talk about this, because I think we could definitely talk a lot about this, is Asar tells Cary to look in the van, and I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting just the Prime Minister or something, just to show, you know, this would be a bigger deal. But no, it's Dar Adal. Dar, who we've seen, like, I think we saw in the very beginning of the season, and then haven't seen him since.
He's always been a mysterious character.
He's very shady.
He is very shady, and
But he's also very knowledgeable, so he was beneficial to Saul and to Cary, and he was always in the know.
Saul knew
about Dar?
that he was playing for the other side?
Well, we don't know exactly what's going on yet, obviously. I mean, it seems like Cary is going to have some major confrontation with this guy, but we don't know exactly what's going on. But I think the other thing that we looked over, because it was a very small scene in this episode, was Lockhart calling Cary up and asking her what's going on with the Pakistans, because he's hearing rumblings, and he said that they're shopping for a replacement. So we know that Dar definitely has the position to do that.
I think it's Dara. I think it's Dara.
It's Dara Dal.
Yeah.
Is it Dara Dal?
Yeah, I think it's Dara.
Dara Dal. Okay.
I'm out on this. I don't know.
I think so. I want to make sure we say it right.
I believe on IMDb it's DAR, separate from the rest.
Then I've been saying it wrong.
But you know what? I'll double check. So F. Murray Abraham. We'll take a look into that and figure it out. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know if that scene with Lockhart is associated.
What could that mean? What
or
could that
not?
mean?
But I have a feeling that was a reason why we saw that quick scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Other than the fact that probably means that Lockhart's going to be out.
What could that mean though? If Akani is working with Dara.
It's Dar.
It is Dar.
Dar Adal.
Yeah.
Dar Adal.
Yes.
I was saying Dara Doll. Good to know.
That's
My apologies.
Yeah, that's some girl's name on Dara Doll.
She's a doll.
Yeah, because she's a doll. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, obviously, there's a lot of question marks going on here. I mean, I think Dar's always kind of felt shady to me.
Yeah.
He's felt kind of like the kind of guy who works really underground and does his own little dealings. And I imagine he's doing it in the best interest of the government, but, you know, who knows? I mean, again, I would assume, and this is just an assumption, that whatever he's doing is trying to supply some kind of deal with the Taliban to keep some war going on or something. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
That's my thought.
That's a heavy prediction.
It's a heavy one, but I'm trying to put my head around this. This is a crazy.
I know.
This is a crazy cliffhanging reveal that we see with one episode left, to see this character who we haven't seen, and he's a great character. I love F. Murray Abraham and how he plays it. You know, he was Saul's confidant throughout. You know,
and a very good one.
A very good one. And you know, but we also know that we know that he wasn't 100% with Lockhart. He wanted to do things his own way. So you know, so what do you guys think? I mean,
I really don't have the faintest idea.
Yeah.
I kind of think I don't know. I just have this feeling that maybe Saul knew.
Well, they showed Saul. Sorry, continue.
What do you mean?
Continue.
No, I was trying to think. I feel like Saul maybe knew that he had connections to Hassam or Haqqani, but that he was an asset to the U.S. also. So maybe he's like, I can't remember the guy's name for the life of me, but he was from the Iranian embassy, I think last season. And Cary brought him in, and he became an asset, but he was also working in the embassy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I feel like he might be one of those type. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name right now, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like he might be one of those types of characters.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta pull up his name, because now I feel like I got it. But anyway, yeah.
Well, when they were showing the whole thing happen, they flashed to Saul and in next week's, like, previews for next week. And so if you guys don't like watching those, I'm going to talk about this for 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds.
But they preview Saul sitting next to his desk with his hands in his pockets. They show that he's involved in next week's episode.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
So the triangle of Saul, Cary, Dar, there has to be a play that has something to do with Saul. So it makes me wonder if there was some bigger plan in play that we didn't know about. You know, something was activated before this I don't know whether it's for relations between the countries. Something bigger almost seems like it's at play here. And with the knowledge of next season, there could be a carryover, a bigger mission, like something to leave us coming back for next season.
By the way, Javadi was the character you're talking about from season 3. Javadi, because he was a major character in 3, and I didn't want to mess up his name, but yeah, absolutely, which was great. Javadi was played by Sean Tobe, really awesome character. Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, you know, when Lockhart said they're shopping for his replacement, I immediately thought of Saul.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you know, we definitely got to get Saul back in here somehow, and he's not part of the CIA anymore. But you know, considering Lockhart's kind of butchered, you know, his job a little bit, and the lengths that the U.S. went to recover Saul. I could see they probably still think of him as a high enough asset, and they might have thought twice because, you know, don't forget Saul was responsible for season 3 for getting Javadi in power, getting their own asset in power over in Iran, and getting rid of their you know, the person that was in charge before him. With that whole thing, that was all part of their plan. So, and Saul and Adar. Were both now I'm saying Adar and Dar both, I think, were very instrumental in that, and I think the White House knows that. So which again is a head scratcher. Why the hell Dar is in that truck with Haqqani, and if he's in league with the ISI, and how involved is he in this? It's a really head scratcher. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's pretty much about it. We kind of went through this episode a little faster than usual, I feel like. I mean, the only other thing really was...
It was a slower... There weren't as many layers this episode. It was slower, shorter. By about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was a short episode too, actually. Yeah, I was. You mentioned that when we looked at the clock, it was a 44-minute episode. Yeah. So, and a lot of the episode again, I think, was really about relationships. Like we saw that little triangle with the German agent and Carrie and Quinn. Little knocks here and there.
Right.
Which I thought was cute. Little catty moments. War, not love. Yeah, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like Michael's going to call us. It was actually going to be a little tough fit, but maybe we'll see what we can do. We'll talk to him, see if we can get him or somebody else. We're trying to get some people on it, maybe for the finale, to call in or come in. Anyway, let's move along then. I guess let's move on to some news and gossip because there's some good ones.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Lexie, I think you have that info.
So the Screen Actors Guild and the Golden Globe nominations came out last week, and Homeland is up for 3 awards. They are up for Screen Actors Guild, Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a Drama. And then Claire Danes, of course, is up for Outstanding Performance by a Lead Actress. And then she's also nominated for a Golden Globes for Outstanding Actress in a Drama. So
good for her.
Go Homeland.
Go Homeland. 3 of them.
This is pretty huge, if I remember correctly. I don't have the information in front of me, and I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. But Homeland has not had many nominations since their first epic season 1. They might have had season 2. I think then there was some controversy. Some people felt that season 2 wasn't strong, obviously, and felt like they got those nominations based on season 1.
I think Claire was nominated last year.
Last year they were.
She was at the Globes.
But she was at the Globes nominated, or she was at the Globes like presenting. She might have been nominated, but the cast. But I don't think the cast got nominated. I'm not sure.
Ensemble wasn't nominated.
The ensemble wasn't. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have that. This just came up to me because I know there's been a lot of talk. I mean, obviously, look, we you know, this was always something we knew, especially after Brody died, that people were losing faith in Homeland the last couple of seasons, and a lot of question marks for this one. But I think, you know, based on the last 4 episodes, maybe 5. That this season has gotten exponentially better, and they've been able to reset the button, and you know, by moving this show to the Middle East, to Pakistan, they've really added a lot to this show. So, and I think that really these nominations really take a stand for, you know, for what they've done. I don't think there's any official news if there'll be a season 5 yet, but I don't see.
It's confirmed.
It's confirmed.
It's confirmed, yeah.
Thank you. That's what I get for not looking at news. But that's great. But that actually supports everything else. The fact that, again, I think about a year ago,
next season.
Yeah, that's right. You said that too. Yeah. You said it first. That we actually a year ago, I think there were people just like giving up on this show, and I know some people, they lost some people in the ratings, but but I think they're winning people back.
And I said we talked about this earlier this season. I think a lot of people had, you know, the jury was out for them, and then it hit about episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Twitter blew up. People were like, "Oh my God, Homeland!" Just like, who was Brody?
Exactly.
They completely forgot about it to focus on the storyline. So
I agree.
it's good for Homeland.
I have a lot of friends who watch Homeland, and they've all commented on how good of a job they've done with rebooting the series.
And I don't have it in front of me. I should be more prepared on this. I'm pulling it up right now. But actually, last week's episode of Homeland was, I think, the second most tweeted about show that night.
Behind what?
The Walking Dead. Well, I think it was behind something like Newsroom. It was something big. I think there was a special event. Actually, I think it was the first. I'm pulling it up now. If we get to pull it up before I'll stall while it's getting pulled up. My computer gets a little slow. But you know, the fact that the top 5 shows that get tweeted. Nielsen's now has a rating for the shows that are tweeted the most.
Good.
And a daily rating, and Homeland was up there, so it's moved up. Of course, it probably helps that Walking Dead is on hiatus right now until February, but still, that's pretty good. And it shows that people are paying attention, people are watching, and people are compelled to tweet about it. So I think that's a really huge stat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, and kudos to Claire Danes, and kudos to the cast of Homeland. Well earned, I think, especially like when we see episodes like this and the acting in episodes like this, we definitely can understand why they got nominated. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I'm having trouble pulling up Evernote, so
sorry.
No big deal. Anyway, let's move on, I guess, right? We have any other news and gossip? No? Then let's move on to some predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Predicciones. Spanish version.
Thank you.
We've got all the languages going tonight.
Yes,
German,
we get
Spanish.
German, Spanish. We're all good. Anyway, so who wants to start off? I mean, lots of stuff going on here, and are we gonna mention clips from next week at all, just to warn people, or no? I can't think of anything really. It's just I didn't see much really.
I think a lot of it takes place in the States.
I think so too.
I don't know what would bring Carrie back, but she was in a scene with Maggie.
Yeah, we saw. We definitely saw that. So
so I think obviously we see Haqqani die at some point. Haqqani's got it. Or hold on, I have twofold. Either Haqqani dies or Haqqani is the big story next season. I just can't see him, the search for him and the hunt for him, carrying a whole nother season unless he does something huge in this finale that makes him the biggest fish ever for next season. There has to be some kind of giant storyline. I also think someone very important dies in this finale. I don't want to say it's Quinn. I want to say it's somebody like Max. Something like that happens. We lose another big character, not Brody level. I don't think we lose a Saul. I don't think we lose a Quinn, but I think we lose someone.
See, that's interesting, I think, because we didn't really see I mean, no one's really like in a dangerous, precarious position at the end of this. It's not one of those cliffhangers. The cliffhanger was more of a reveal of seeing Dar in the truck with Haqqani.
That's why I think next week there's going to be a lot's going to happen.
But I think
like all of this hits the fan next week.
I think it's interesting. Will Haqqani remain? Well, will Haqqani survive?
Here's the thing about that, though, is I agree with Danny. I think he's getting weaker with whatever his illness is because you see him with the IV, and he brings the IV with him into the car.
And he had gotten shot when they were at the embassy. He got shot on the way out. Quinn got him.
Okay.
But also, what was that SD card?
Yeah, it was slid across the table. There was an SD card slid across the table. What could be on that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, maybe all the files? Maybe the names of all the agents?
Oh, it's probably the names of the agents probably still. That could be that.
Digitized? I don't know.
That's probably what that is. But yeah, I mean, so the questions I think really that we want to know is Haqqani, is this going to end with Haqqani this next episode coming up, or is this going to continue into next season? Will there be a new terrorist or a new villain next season? Is anyone going to be gone? I mean, Quinn definitely has to sneak out of Pakistan somehow, and Carrie is probably safer because she's got a SAR. Spoiler for those of you who don't look at the clips for next week, but we do know that Carrie's talking to Dar and Maggie. So I think there's a lot of and what's going on with Saul.
I'm going to choose one side of the fence. I know I kind of gave a twofold. I'm going to choose one side.
What's your fence?
Okay.
My fence was, I don't know, either Haqqani dies and it's a new storyline for next season. Here it is. I'm going to mold my predictions into one.
Uh-oh.
I think that Haqqani is going to be responsible for killing off an important character, like I said. I think it's going to be somebody like Max. Could even be more important. Could be like Lockhart or something crazy. Ah! Something crazy, okay?
What if Dar...
No, let me finish. He kills somebody crazy, and Haqqani is the big fish next season. So the storyline, he kills off Lockhart. Saul has to automatically move in to director of CIA, and the whole next season focuses on catching Haqqani.
Okay, here's what I say. I say Haqqani's not coming back next season. I don't know what's going to happen to him, whether they just like accept their losses and move on, but the U.S. loses this one. And next week's episode's just really dealing with Dar and dealing with whatever they got to mix up. And this is probably what gets Saul back in charge of the CIA.
But that
just trying to fix up everything.
That wouldn't want to make me come back and watch next season. I'd be like,
I feel like Haqqani's going to be there next season for at least a few episodes or half the season.
I just feel like he wasn't a big enough character to return back, but there's always another terrorist.
What would make him a bigger character if he kills off a major character?
Okay.
What if Dar
that's my prediction.
kills Lockhart?
Whoa.
I think we're getting crazy.
Yeah, and then Carrie's like, I saw Dar in the back of the car, and then it's a whole loop again where people are like, we don't believe you, Carrie. And she's like, God, I saw Dar in the back of the car. She's the only one in America that knows, an American that knows.
That is true.
Holy crap, that's a good prediction,
There
Lexie.
is so much.
Thanks.
That's pretty good. There is so much that, I mean,
Bro,
look.
I love that.
What's crazy about this is there's so many, because we don't know what the hell's going on. There's so many different directions you can go. You like her prediction?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, it picks in what I said. Somebody like Dar's involved, and Carrie's like, I saw Dar in the back of the car. And everybody's like, Carrie, you're freaking crazy. Go back on your medication. She's like, no, I was right with Brody.
Okay.
You guys didn't believe me the first time. I swear to God.
Because Dar could easily undermine Carrie by being like, she's crazy.
Yo,
This is her meds talk.
crazy.
I
love it.
I gotta say, I gotta love the fact that there is so many different directions we can go with this finale, because we don't know exactly where it was. I'm still scratching my head about the whole Dar thing, but yeah, there's so many directions we can go, and it seems like there's no big cliffhanger, but we know something big has to happen next week.
Tweet us your thoughts.
Yes. Please tweet us.
Predictions.
Also, we didn't really talk about iTunes, but yeah, please tweet us your thoughts or post on YouTube. We do read the comments. Also, there's iTunes. We'd love to get some ratings from you guys. Maybe we'll do some shout outs next week for the finale from people who tweeted and posted on YouTube and on iTunes. We'd love to get 5 stars if possible. Hopefully you're happy with the show. We're trying to get guests on for next week. Keep you posted on that. And otherwise, where can we find you guys so we can talk to you guys about Homeland and tweet at you?
You can find me on all social media at Lexie Hammesfahr.
Guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Hoyt. And I have to say, I've enjoyed being with you. I will be gone next weekend.
What? You come up with all these these predictions and then you disappear?
I know. I have to be back in Nebraska to do Christmas early with my family.
Oh, well, that's a good reason.
But I will be watching. I will be happily tweeting. I will call in. That's what I will do. I will call in and talk to you guys.
That's our guest next week.
Well, I can be one of, I'm not important. Let's get the important people.
We'll see what we can do. And then Thaddeus will be here next week, most likely. You can reach him on Twitter at Club Thaddeus. I'm on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel, and here on a bunch of other AfterBuzz shows. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in next week for the finale of Homeland Season 4. Thank you. Goodbye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.